welcome to another very wonderful podcast. We're here at Sophist Productions and we're live just for you guys. And we have a very special episode today ready for just you guys. So, today we're going to talk about the upcoming financial collapse that the world is facing. We're going to talk about Afghanistan, we're going to talk about the recent skirmishes between Pakistan and Afghanistan and what was the net result of it. Why was there a ceasefire? Is the ceasefire going to continue? Because the ceasefire has been broken multiple times. We also want to talk about Gaza because we were so happy that Donald Trump finally brokered a peace agreement between Gaza and the Israeli people, and now it seems like that peace agreement is violated by Gaza and by Israel, and this again bombing the people of Gaza. And we want to talk about the financial crisis, which is going to be 60% greater than the last financial crisis in 2008. And it's a very important topic to discuss because it's the crisis that is what you can say of the schooling districts in the United States of America. So, without further ado, let me introduce you to Anila Shehzad, who's a regular on our channel. She's here on every live stream, and she's a writer of a few books. Her latest book is called Geopolitics, Frameworks and Dynamics in a Multipolar World. And with that, how's your day going? And what do you think about the current situation of the world? What is happening in the world right now?
Assalamu alaikum, Wali, and assalamu alaikum, everybody, and thanks for having me here. It's always wonderful to be at Wali Wonders in Sophist Productions. And yes, this topic that you have chosen today is really, really very, very important also, and very concerning for everybody because, we are living in a global village, and that's why geopolitics is so important and so interesting because this globalization era has brought us all the citizens of the globe so much closer together that everything or anything that happens on one part of the world affects every other person living in other parts of the world. So we cannot say that we don't need to bother about what's happening in the US or Europe or Africa or anywhere else in the world or in our neighbors because I would like to assure you that everything that happens anywhere does affect us, and like directly or indirectly, or in our economies or in our climates, in so many ways that everything is connected to each other. And so is this financial thing because with globalization not only came geopolitics, which is the subject I'm always writing on and researching on, because geopolitics means that global politics has become interconnected. Things are not on a regional level or a bilateral level between one state and another. Rather, they are between all the states of the world in a geopolitical manner. And the same thing happens in economy, because economy has also become geo-economics, meaning that all the economy that's running all around the world, all the trade, all the deals and everything that affects all other countries, so many other countries. That's why everybody is concerned, especially when what you're going to talk about today is the financial crisis that we are seeing approaching the United States of America, I think, and Europe. That is going to affect the economy, the geoeconomics of the whole world.
Volkswagen just announced that they need $1 billion to create more cars, and Volkswagen is like the industrial giant, the car manufacturer from Europe. So when Volkswagen doesn't have enough money to produce more cars, what does that mean for Germany and Europe? And do we see a financial crisis brewing in Asia as well? Do you think that, well, Asia has always been in a crisis except for a few countries like Japan and Korea,
Yes.
but
But this financial crisis that we are talking about today, and
Mhm.
so many analysts in the West are also talking about this financial crisis, is basically because of the trillions of dollars of debt of some countries. And the top of this list is the United States, and that trillions of dollars of debt, it has become unbearable, unsustainable, and the world cannot go on like this. Like, everybody can understand that if you have your own household and you are taking a debt of 1 lakh 1 month to do all your financial things, and then next month you're taking another 1 lakh, and next month you're taking another 1 lakh, then you are going into that pitfall, that pit in which you are going to be like going down and down, and there is going to be no way that a person who couldn't afford the 1 lakh in the first month of his crisis can now pay off the debt of 100 lakh or something like that. So the same thing goes for the US, I think.
because it's
Is
been
that a
taking.
right analogy that I've given?
Yes. And there's been a rise of buy now, pay later schemes, and usually these schemes were in the past reserved for people who really needed something and people who had some financial background. But now we see that even to buy groceries, people are using buy now, pay later schemes. And since the coronavirus and since the Ukraine-Russia war, the financial crisis might have been a little prolonged, but when is it coming? And even if we're not sure if it's coming or not, but the world seems like it's crashing. And I want to show you guys a few videos that I've been watching, and they are like really devastating because it shows that even the first world is disintegrating into a third world economy. And let's just watch the first video.
Anymore. $4.69 for Publix bag of rice.
I'm at Walmart right now. Tell me if I'm tripping, but the price of meat has significantly gone up. Like, are we dead serious right now? Like, are we dead ass? Is this real life? I am so shocked. Like, I am so shocked. Is this real life? This is expensive.
You don't need me to tell you that grocery prices are insane in the States, but I bought this Napa cabbage the other day. I used a few of the outer leaves, so it was a little bit bigger than it is now. It's still a hefty boy. I paid $14 for this. Yes, one vegetable was $14. Is this normal? Like, I've never bought a Napa cabbage. We made some okonomiyaki. It was delicious, but expensive. I mean, one vegetable in the States is as much as like going out to a restaurant and ordering an entree. What are you paying for a Napa cabbage where you live? Like, how much does this cost in Portugal, for example? Because this was insane, and I don't know if it would be an okonomiyaki sin to use normal cabbage that was only $1, but yeah, this was a pricey investment. I get that prices are relative everywhere around the world. I understand that if it's cheaper somewhere, people make less. But come on, $14 for a vegetable? That just seems like price gouging to me, don't you think?
This isn't just about prices.
So we just saw this video in which this guy has just bought a piece of cabbage for $14.
Which means how many Pakistani rupees?
Unlimited Pakistani rupees. So, I mean, that is no good. How can you like really afford a $14 cabbage? There's some audio things that are going wrong today with us. Don't mind that. But what we're trying to say is things are really getting out of control, and people don't know where they will get that money. And really, it's like a house of cards that the whole world economy is built upon. And some say that the American banks have a debt of almost like 100 trillion or maybe more, because you have to remember that there's a debt which is the total debt that US has, which is like 37 trillion dollars. But then again, they have this crazy financial instruments that they use usually, and from these financial instruments, they create leverage on that debt. And then there's paper contracts that go around the world, and because of that, can you continue so I can fix the audio?
Okay, yes. Yes, so you were just mentioning these financial instruments that the US and their banking system and the European banking systems, all of them have. And it's so interesting. I was reading this news that day that so many people have bought gold on via digital contracts, like ETFs, or just like you buy crypto and you buy this Bitcoin on the internet via your digital accounts. The same way people have bought so much gold, and now there is Wali is going to tell you how much gold there really is with these companies who are giving off these paper contracts, and how much contracts they have given and how much real gold they have. So it's something like for each 1 ounce of real gold, they have sold off something like 300 ounce or something.
360 for silver.
Yeah. So when the people get panicked, which they are panicking right now, and what happens is that they want their real gold or real silver back, so they ask those bankers or ask those institutions to now deliver them their real, the real gold. Then big institutions like LBMA and all those, they are it's in the news that they are saying that we are going to give you 6 months delayed or something like that, 6 weeks delay, something like that.
Yeah, and the LBMA doesn't have enough silver and gold to cover all the future contracts that they have placed. And still, I want to show you what's been happening with gold as well. There's been lines of people that were stacking on, they were outside these gold bullions all around the world, in India, in China, even in Australia and Europe and the United States. But what happens is that gold makes like this historical run. It's like a 9-week candle that is going vertically up. And it's really insane. It went up like $180 on Friday, which was the biggest jump. And then it went from $4,380 on Monday. It went down like $280, which is like a 5.6% crash in the price of gold, which is the most historical crash ever. The gold hasn't been this down in a single day since like forever, since like maybe 2008 or 9 or something, maybe 2013. So that's what it is, that no one is safe, no place is safe. People are like really what can we say? People are like really devastated because they were going to the safe haven, which was gold, and it fell like a meme stock, or it fell like cryptocurrency, because we see Ethereum falling like 5 or 10% in a day, and then rising 5-10% the other day, but we don't see that in gold. And it's basically because people are too over leveraged, and people, when the price starts to dump, there's too much panic selling. And there's another thing as well, because the banks of America are, we heard that there was like this liquidation event, and there was this bank that went down. So the people are getting margin calls on their accounts. And for those people who don't know what a margin call is, a margin call is when you're about to get liquidated and there's like 5 or 10% margin left in your account. So you get a margin call, and when you get a margin call, people usually start selling their assets.
And that
which
margin call is on your email or something like that?
can be on your email, or can be like people use a lot of different softwares, and people also go to stock exchanges. So, but the margin call is like a really devastating thing for any trader, and there were a lot of margin calls going on when the price of gold was rising. So people are now, people sold their gold, and they shifted towards um,
Stable coin?
not stable coin. They sold the gold off to cover their long positions or short positions in the stock market, because when we see the stocks, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, we see that they are due for a big correction. And also, the dollar has been going up recently. We see a strong bull run in the dollar as well, which is like bad for gold. But then again, the world is like shifting towards a multipolar world. And there's this nice analysis that I was watching the other day, and it said that the United States knew what was going to happen in the next few years. And there's like a new power that is China, and even Russia is getting economically wiser and stronger day by day. And what happens is that America knew that China would be making its army. So is America going to also make an army, and are they both going towards a war? Maybe, because at the end of every fiat currency, at the end of every empire, there's like a major war. And that's when there's the rise of a new power. So with the advent of nuclear missiles, we don't think that's a nice option. And in the game theory, there's something called the zero-sum game, in which neither one comes out alive. Everyone dies, and the economy dies, and everything's over in just a second. But then again, we have to have some trust in humanity. We have to, even if you're an American, you have to have some trust in the Chinese people, that they're not all hell-bent on destroying America. And they're not really out there to just wipe out the whole world. Maybe the Chinese want to prosper as well. Maybe the Chinese want a happy life, a happy future, economy that is performing, an economy that is performing for everyone. So but the point is, when America knew that this was going to happen, what they did is they tried to prolong their demise by starting a war with Russia. Because we're going to come to what's happening right now, but it's very important to understand that America was losing its influence in Europe, because there was this big Nord Stream pipeline which happened, and Germany and Russia spent like billions and billions of dollars creating this pipeline from Russia to Germany. And Russia was going to export billions of dollars of gas to Europe, and Europe was going to prosper by cheap gas and electricity, and they were going to build their industries upon that energy. But what happens is that America intervenes, and America starts this new clash between something wrong with our wires today. So America starts this huge war, and it's like they knew that they weren't going to win this war, but they bought some time. Can you continue? So I'll fix the audio.
Yeah. What are you talking about?
The great game.
The great?
Game.
Oh. Yes, the great game which you are asking, if you ask me, it is a historical thing. The great game was the tug of war between two great empires, the Russian Empire, the Soviet Russian Empire, and the British Empire, and that game was being played before World War One, something like from 1850s to 1907, something like that. And what was happening in the Great War, Great Game, was that the British Empire had colonized the whole of the subcontinent, and so they were occupying in Asia. I mean, in Asia, the British Empire was occupying the subcontinent, and from up in the north, Russia was occupying something like all of the Central Asian countries, and it was there was actually only two states that were left independent in Asia between the British and the Russians, and those two countries were Persia, that is Iran, and Afghanistan. These two countries had not been colonized. They were, on the face of it, they were independent countries. And Britain was afraid that the Russians are going to come, take over Iran and Afghanistan, and then attack them. And in the same way, the Russians were afraid that if they don't act, the British Empire is going to conquer Iran and Afghanistan, and then they are going to come right at their borders and then attack them. So both of them, the Russian Empire and the British Empire, had this tug of war to they didn't want to occupy these two countries, but they wanted their influence, and they wanted to keep these two countries as buffer zones, a buffer zone between these two empires, so that none of the empire enters there and comes face to face in a direct battle with the other. And for that thing, they kept on influencing the courts of the Afghan kings and the courts of the Persian kings, and it was such a the game was so severe that for so many years and decades, the court of the Persian king used to be they had to allow the Russian envoy to be stationed in their courts, and they had to allow the British envoy to be stationed in their courts, and they were so close to their system, their political kingship system, that they actually forced the kings to do as the crowns wished. Like the Russians influenced the king to do as they wished, and the British did the same. And the kings were so because Russia was occupying a belt of the border areas of Iran, and the British were also having this type of an influence. And the economies of both of these countries was really weak, and because of that, they were ready and happy to take rent from the British Empire and take rent from the Russian Empire. So they became tenants of these two empires. So you can imagine, if a king becomes a tenant of some other people and he's taking stipend from them and taking monthly, financial aid from them, so then what is going to be the sovereignty of that empire or the independence of that empire? So that was the tug of war that the Russian and the British Empire both played in both Afghanistan and Iran. And so it was a long story, very interesting story, very deep history in that. But at the end, in 1907, they agreed that yes, we both are not going to enter these two countries. We'll make it a buffer zone. But you know what happened, that Iran was literally divided into three zones. The upper zone, northern zone, was totally in Russia's influence. The southern zone was totally in British influence, and
It's
there was a middle zone
2025,
that
and the
was
American middle
actually
class is dead.
in the
Completely
control of the
gone.
Persians. So that was the dire situation in which these two kingdoms had to remain, although they were two kingdoms and two empires that were not colonized. They were not colonized. They were not enslaved, but by all other means, they were like enslaved politically and economically and all in all those ways. So that was really an
The
interesting
Great
thing. We
Game.
can talk about the Great War, and then when this all happened and ended, and then was World War One, and then World War Two, and then after World War II, there was a Cold War, and in the end of this Cold War, there was a Russian occupation of Afghanistan, and at the time, people started saying that now this is the new great game. This is the great game 2.0. And in that game, when Russian forces were totally inside Afghanistan, British, MI6 and CIA, they were all also in Afghanistan, and via Pakistan, they tried to do all the influence, and they did everything to defeat Russia in Afghanistan.
That is amazing.
Yes.
And sorry for the voice disruption that we're having today. I think my voice is now crystal clear, and we had a little problem. So yes, I was discussing about the Great Game, and Anila just told you about the history of the Great Game, which is a very important history. And the Great Game still continues today, or maybe it's called the Great Game 2.0, because now there's like this shift where China is coming up, and as I told you, that America was vying for influence in Europe, and America destroyed the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and they did this war with Ukraine and Russia, because how will you spend? You can only spend and maintain what you're doing by spending on something, and that was a major war. I mean, the Russia-Ukraine war has been going on for a few years. So America bought a few more years. And with the coronavirus, they also again started their money printers, and they printed a lot of money. The M2 supply went up like so much, and they again had this chance to continue whatever they were doing. But the point is that the time is coming near. Something big, something drastic is coming to United States of America and the world. And we all should be really happy, because we have been living in a time of prosperity. There's been times in the world when there's been like 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of a downturn. A few hundred years ago, even in the subcontinent, you have to understand that Asia, China, Russia, these places were like 60% of the world's GDP back in like 15 or 1600s. And then came technology, then came industrialization, and suddenly we saw Europe industrializing in a massive way. The British Empire and the Dutch Empire were the first ones to take advantage of all the steam engines and all the gunpowders and all the sophisticated weapons that they created. So the GDP transferred from the Asians to the British Empire, and the British Empire and the United States also became these giants, mega giants, and the British were also imperialist and colonist, and they conquered the whole world. Uh, and there was the time, 100-year period in the subcontinent time when there was no GDP growth for 100 years, and people lived back then. How did they live? In today's world, where all of us are like only happy when we are spending, and we want all the good things, nice things in life, but and also we have been living through this economic miracle, or an economic Ponzi scheme, some might call, which will end at a certain point. The dollar system is going to end, and it's the end seems to be not much further. It seems to be near. So let's see what Americans are saying. And when you see these videos, all of us should thank for whatever situation we're in, because we're always, from social media and from all the media, we're always seeing this flashy lifestyle, this billionaire status, the people sitting in yachts, smoking cigars, and people throwing out around $10,000, $50,000 in like an hour or two, and this lavish spending lifestyle, which is not like sustainable for anyone in the coming years. What is about to happen? So let's just watch a video or two, and then I'll continue my discussion. So, yes.
Irritated, and I have been feeling irritated for 2 days. I'm going to do another post related to how well we're doing or not doing. How many of you have some kind of medical thing you need to do, but you can't afford it? Just curious. Let's take a poll. How many of you have something that you need to have done that you can't do? I'll go first. I have some kind of thing going on with my right arm, and I most likely probably need surgery because I think it's related to the ulnar or radial nerve, and I can barely raise my right arm. But I also have a shoulder that needs to be replaced, and neither of which I can afford to even go to the doctor to have assessed, because I can't afford just the office visit copay, let alone the surgery copay. And then my doctor ordered me one medication recently, which the insurance decided I didn't need and they weren't going to cover, and it's $500 a month. So I had to decline it because I can't afford it. So now it's your turn. What are you not doing?
I used to struggle with BP until I found this.
Sorry,
This
that's
recipe
an ad.
is so easy. All you need is 1 teaspoon of Ceylon cinnamon.
In America, health can
So, yeah, as you just saw, this lady talking about her financial situation, I mean, it's like really, really devastating. And let's see another lady who's talking about the same things. Sorry, guys.
Health that a lot of times you don't have a lot of control. Never talk. I've been in depression recovery for a year now, and the one thing that no one ever talks about, that I never talk about, that is essential for mental health that a lot of times you don't have a lot of control over, is money. And I know this because we had not financial stability, but the hope of financial stability for 2 months. And in those 2 months, my mental health went like being in recovery and being okay to good. Nothing else changed except for money. And now that we're back down here to, no stability, and you're never gonna have stability. People like to say, money doesn't fix everything. I literally, if I had money, it would fix everything. Would life still be hard? Yes. But I wouldn't have the stress of trying to figure out if I could pay my rent, mortgage, put food on the table, going to the hospital because I'm on day 8 of being sick and they probably have pneumonia. I'm convinced if people had a living way, if they could pay their bills, if they could take one vacation a year, depression rates would plummet.
people don't talk enough about
So that is a lady. I mean, we used to hear these sort of things where we live in Pakistan. People don't really have that much money, and people, when they used to eat like one time a day, they couldn't afford a meal for the next, the next night or something. And that is like a third world country situation where people are so below the poverty line that they can't afford 2 meals or 3 meals a day. They can't afford to feed their children. And places like Pakistan, there are a lot of children with stunted growth because they haven't had the right nutrition. But now we're talking about the United States of America, where people are making like $60,000 a year. Some people are making six figures in a year, and still they are struggling. And when we hear this lady that we just were hearing, that she is struggling so much, there's this other lady who left her home with like $200, and that was the last $200 that she had. And she was standing in the grocery line, and when she put her card in, the card got declined, and there was a long line of people standing right beside her. And she was so humiliated and embarrassed because everyone knew that her card got declined. Because when she left her home, the bank automatically deducted like $150 from her credit card. And she only had like $50 left, so she had to put some of the groceries back and take the rest of them. And that's the point. It's not that this woman didn't have like a nice family background, or she didn't have a job. It's because the living expenses have become so astronomically high all over the world, not just in America, but also in Canada, America, Australia, and the Europe, that people are really struggling. Even people who have like a $60,000, $70,000 salary a year, they're struggling to make it through the month. Some people, if they eat in the morning, if they let their kids eat, then they can't eat. If they eat, the kids can't eat. And this is the dollar getting devalued over the years. The dollar has like lost 99% of its value since only 1973. There used to be a time when you could buy, 50 years ago, you could buy an ounce of gold for like $24, $25, and now you can't get that same ounce for even $4,000. So did the value of the gold go up? No, it's vice versa. The value of the dollar went down to such an extreme that the dollar is absolutely worthless. And there's like student loan debt, which is over $1 trillion. And then there is car mortgage that is over. I mean, it's like the most ridiculous thing, because we also have car loans all over the world, but some while back in Pakistan, it used to be that you bought a car, and by the time you completed the 5-year plan or the 10-year plan, the value of your car went up. But these days, it's the opposite, and especially in America. The people, they take these humongous car loans, and they're so proud of getting a new car. And then when they're making the payments, when they're done with their payments, the car has already lost 50% of their value. And you know how these loans work. The first few years, you're just paying the principal. You're just paying the interest. And after like the second year, then you start making your first payment for your car. So it's like really a devastation, because in one hand, people want to do this Instagram lifestyle, this influencer lifestyle, in which they want to show these lavish parties and these expensive yachts and these $1 million houses and their Ferraris and their Lamborghinis. But it all comes for a price. I mean, you could do something like that back when America was booming and Europe was booming, and there were like there was an economic miracle going on. But now, when the whole world is facing something very big that is coming to the economic world, and it's going to really be devastating to everyone. So now people are on another angle. Do you want to add something, or should I go to the comments first?
Yeah. Yes, there's so much to add, and such a dire thing, and something that we as Pakistanis should realize, that we're always crying over, this इन्फ्लेशन एंड महंगाई के ऊपर हम लोग बहुत रोते रहते हैं, लेकिन we should realize that since 2008 financial crisis, the inflation all over the world, especially on food prices, especially on utility bills, has been rising. I mean, Pakistan is not the only place where the bills have risen and the food prices have risen. In Europe and in UK, in the US, and all these Western countries, the food prices have gone much more higher than they have gone in Pakistan. So we should be thankful to Allah that still we can afford 2 times meal.
But can you say that for the rest of the Pakistan? Because the electricity cost
right.
and the bills have gone so up. And what do you think about? You think that the food prices have remained stable? I think that the basic necessities like rice, wheat, and everything has gone so up.
Yeah.
And people are going from Pakistan to the Western world. It's not that
and buying $14 cabbage.
but it's, we can't be haters. It's not that Asia is in such a good state and the United States is in such a bad state. It's the whole world is suffering right now. And
but at least we should know that, no? Because here in Pakistan, people are just like our media, especially our news media. They're always crying about so much inflation because of Imran Khan or Shehbaz Sharif and this and that, and they don't tell the people that actually the whole world is going through the same thing. Isn't that important to know?
That's a really important point to know. And let me go towards a few comments. And Mohammed Fazan is here, and Nadeem Ahmed is here. They're saying hello. Musa is here. He's saying what's up, everybody. Rana Adnan is here. He's saying hello, sir and ma'am. And Mohammed Fazan is saying analysts at Goldman Sachs have already revised up their target price of gold to $4,900 an ounce by the end of 2026. Some were saying by the end of 2025 as well. Aruj is here and she's saying great. Rida Fatma is here, and Asma is saying really powerful points, but how do we build strong local communities when people barely trust each other? And so this Fatma, yes, how do we build strong communities because no one trusts anyone? Sundas Fatma, Hanif is saying hello everyone. Aruj Fatma is here. She's saying hey Sundas. Hassan Haroon is saying Jeeto Wali Wonders. Jeeto Pakistan. Wali is active and very intelligent man. हम सुन रहे हैं आपकी stories. So thank you Hassan, thank you for such nice comments. And Aruj Fatma is saying wow, awareness होनी चाहिए कि किसी भी काम के लिए डर नहीं होना चाहिए. Sundas Hanif is saying yes Aruj Fatma, you're right, इसलिए तो ना डर हैं हम. And Abda Amjad is saying she's not spreading fear, she's decoding reality. This is what true awareness sounds like. And Asma is saying when truth sounds like warning, you know the world has changed. That's the spirit. And Asma Munir is saying history doesn't repeat, it warns. And she is translating the warning. And Anila Amjad is here. And she's saying hello Anila.
Hello everybody.
So Mohammed Fazan is saying Pakistan is often cited as the cheapest country in the world, with a low monthly cost of living estimated around $332. But I don't think that that's true in the past few years, because I think India might be cheaper right now from Pakistan, and Bangladesh is cheaper, I guess. I don't know, we have to research that. And Musa is like, टमाटर महंगे हो गए हैं यार.
Exactly.
टमाटर.
Governments have been toppled because of these tomatoes.
Tomatoes. So with that, I want to show you guys another video of what's happening in United States of America. So do we see the second screen? So
getting treatment would mean financial disaster.
So let me get this straight. We can't afford medications and health care for people in the United States, but we can bail out Argentina for 20 billion fucking dollars. We can pay for everyone in Israel to have fucking health care. Oh, but you can't afford your diabetes medication? You get to die because you're American. What the fuck? I'm supposed to have like 4 surgeries. I don't know when I'm ever going to have those, just so I can have function in my hands and feet again. I haven't been able to work on the computer for more than like 20 minutes in a couple years now. People are dying. This is eugenics. They want people to die. We can obviously afford for people to not die. That's just not the choices certain people want to fucking make. Because these goddamn CEOs make money off of people fucking dying. But seriously, why the fuck did we bail out Argentina? What?
People get
Trump.
So that's another video.
Starting October 1st, every branded or patented medication imported into the US will get hit with a 100% tariff unless the company is building its factories here. That means prices for prescriptions you or your family depend on are about to skyrocket. And here's some more brutal truth. Many Americans will no longer be able to afford their life-sustaining medications. For some people, reaching for a generic just isn't an option. Stocks for medication makers in Asia already tanked. Australia is furious because they sell over $1 billion in meds to the US, and the EU, they rush to remind Trump that their trade deal caps medication tariffs at 15%. So allies are protected, but American patients are left holding the bag. This isn't about national security. This is about gambling with people's lives. When patients are forced to skip doses or ration medication, it's not just bad policy. It can be a death sentence for some of the most vulnerable people in this country. So if your life depends on a prescription, this tariff is coming for you. So the question is now, how much longer are we willing to let politicians put our lives on the line?
It becomes.
So yeah, we're having some technical troubles today. With a few things. So yeah, as we heard this lady that America is bailing out the United States of America. Sorry, they're bailing out Israel and Argentina for billions and billions of dollars, and they have money to give to Ukraine. They have spent $100 billion on Ukraine, but Americans don't have money to get medical attention, to get really any
Basic,
medical attention. Yeah, so that is really devastating. And then Trump puts 100% tariff on the medications. Do you think when Americans are suffering so much, when Americans are suffering so much, do you really think that 100% tariff on basic essentials like medications would help the American people? I mean, it's such a big devastation. This can't continue for a long while because what is happening? I mean, the world is going towards this really dark phase when there's going to be a run on the banks. There's going to be a run on the currencies. Your money is not going to be worthless. And what they're trying to do is they're going to digitalize and tokenize everything. Just the past day, Jamie Dimon came and he said that they were working, and BlackRock also came, and they're working on tokenizing everything. So the future world for you guys, how they're going to solve the 37 trillion debt crisis? Because remember back in 2001, there was this big financial crisis, which was the dot-com bust, and America had only $5 trillion of debt, and their GDP was far greater than their debt. But now in 2025, they have like a $37 trillion of debt, and the GDP is actually like far less than their debt. Not far less, the GDP is like 30 trillion and their debt is like 37 trillion. So I mean, making a comparison, if there is like a financial crisis that is just right around the corners. Because when we look at the charts, when we look at what is happening to the world of finance, we see a clear top. We see like this resistance forming, and then the stocks go down, and then when the stocks have to come back again up, they can't break this clear resistance line. We're also going to show you these charts as well today. And it's been like a total devastation, because now we can clearly see. Sometimes people say that there's like a financial crisis in the world, and then you see there's like a big war in the world, and then you see all the financial world crashing, the stocks crashing. But right now, something exactly opposite is happening, that we can see the stocks crashing and sooner or later the world is going to get devastated. And big financial investors are warning people. All the CEOs of these big companies have been warning people about this upcoming financial crisis. Actually, the big CEOs are like selling all their stocks. I mean, the owner of Oracle just sold like $40 million of her own stock. Even we hear Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk selling their stocks here and there. And the worst news that just hit the market is like Elon Musk, the father of innovation and the #1 marketeer and the true genius of our world, and he's like a revolutionary thinker. His Tesla is valuated, his car company is valuated at $1 trillion. And they just had their earnings report a day ago, and it was a total nightmare for Tesla, because the earning reports were really bad. I mean, it's also Elon Musk, because one day he's in the Doge, the Department of something, and he's standing with Donald Trump. One day he says that Tesla is like a solar panel company. The other day he says that Tesla is a battery company, and then he comes out and he says Tesla is a robot company. So all these different things. And also Elon Musk is interested in making Twitter right now, x.com, his new platform, his social media platform. And he's now even making games. He wants to make the first game, which is going to be created by artificial intelligence. And I mean, if Tesla goes down, because Tesla is only based on the genius marketing of Elon Musk. No other car company. I mean, Toyota sells far more cars than Tesla, but the whole market cap of Toyota is a fraction of Tesla. And it's not about the cars that Tesla sells. It's about the vision that they have, the future that they speak of. And right now, with the recent company valuations, we see a clear decline in the stock market, in Tesla's share value. And if Tesla goes down, that's like $1 trillion just wiped out. And what is happening with BYD? BYD is making better cars. It's creating people in America still can't like really buy BYDs, but you can see that there are some BYDs coming on in Europe as well. And BYD is making much better, much cheaper cars than Tesla. And then they're also destroying the market from BMW and Audi. And the cars are cheaper, than their Western counterparts, and they're better in technology, they're better in battery time. So this EV revolution and also the rare earth pipeline, China has been strategically making this rare earth refining industry for the past 25 years. So back in 2015, they planned that by 2025 they were going to be like the leader of rare earth minerals, because remember, rare earth minerals are not truly rare. They can be found all over the world, even in places like Australia. Donald Trump just signed like a big rare earth mineral deal. But how will he refine these minerals? Because to make the factories that China has, you need at least 10 years with all the investments and with everything. And China just announced that it's going to do a complete blanket ban on all the rare earths that are going to be exported to the United States of America, even if someone else is making the product and it has like a trace amount of rare earth minerals from China. China wants like these huge forms to be filled, and they want answers, and they don't want to give these rare earth minerals to America, and that's like a checkmate, because a while ago America stopped selling their NVIDIA chips to China because they were competing in everything, especially the artificial intelligence. Some people say that America is leading the race for artificial intelligence, but when you see all the new artificial intelligence things coming out of China, some of them are truly amazing. They're on par with their American or the European counterparts. So, what's going to happen on the 1st of November? Can you tell us?
But before that, you need to like take a minute, because there's a tragedy that they're talking about. You have to read the last few comments. It's a very tragic thing with Anila Amjad.
Hey everyone, I want to share something. My son and daughter were unjustly killed. Please don't believe what people say, and never let anyone take advantage of your weakness. We're very sorry, Anila, for your loss. And she's saying, when my son went to confront her husband
of her daughter,
he was hit in an accident caused by him. After spending 2 weeks in the hospital, my son passed away.
Oh my God.
6 days ago. Seriously, very sad. And Aruj Fatma saying, please be strong. Anila, Allah aapko sabr dega. Anila, I'm sorry for your loss. Please don't let this go. You deserve justice. Take legal actions. Even if it's hard, your son's life matters. And there's a message that is redacted. And what would you want to say? Do you want to say something to Anila?
Very, very tragic, Anila Amjad. And we are all with you, because, you know, we are all family, and we are like, we so much cherish everybody who comes to watch the show. We consider all of you as our family, and our hearts are really torn just to hear such a tragic thing, such a tragic death of your son. I mean, it's just there are no words to console you. अल्लाह ताला आपको सब्र दे, अल्लाह ताला आपके बेटे का इंसाफ आपको दे, अल्लाह ताला आपकी तमाम फैमिली को अपनी हिफाजत में रखे, अल्लाह ताला आपके बेटे को बहुत ऊंचे मकामात अता करे, बिकॉज जिसके साथ अनजस्टली ऐसे हुआ हो, वो अल्लाह ताला ज़ाहिर है उसको कॉम्पनसेट बहुत अच्छे तरीके से करेंगे. तो बिल्कुल आपने तो एकदम से ना हमारे दिल जो है वो कर दिए हैं कि कितनी बड़ी ट्रेजेडी आपके साथ हुई है. अल्लाह ताला आपको बहुत बहुत सब्र दे.
Anila, I am a mother. You can understand that the devil killed my 2 children. He has destroyed our entire honor. Oh my God.
I think बेटी की भी
death. So
Very tragic.
अनीला, वैसे आपके लिए हम लोग बहुत दुआ कर रहे हैं आपके बच्चों के लिए भी कि अल्लाह उनको जन्नत के अंदर सबसे बड़ा मकाम दे, और अगर हमारा प्लेटफॉर्म इस किसी भी इस ऐसे मकसद के लिए यूज़ हो सकता है तो वी मोर देन वेलकम. विल ट्राई टू कॉन्टैक्ट यू आफ्टर द स्ट्रीम एज वेल, और हम आपकी पूरी स्टोरी सुनना चाहेंगे. एंड मे बी इन द नेक्स्ट स्ट्रीम we'll call out this person who is clearly like this mental psychopath type of a person जिसने आपके बच्चों के साथ ऐसा किया. I mean कि किसी भी आपके जो है ना इवन जानवर आपने घर पे रखा हो तो उसका जो है जानने से आपको कितना तकलीफ़ होता है. एंड वी हैव सीन, आई पर्सनली हैव सीन इन माई फैमिली कि जब किसी पेरेंट अपने बच्चे को लूज़ करता है तो उनके साथ कितना it stays for them for the rest of their life, because losing your parents is one thing, but a parent losing their children, that is just totally devastating. Or I mean I really don't know how all of this has happened, but it's like a true devastation. और हमें नहीं पता कि क्या हो सकता है आज के दिन, कल के दिन लोग कैसे हैं, लोगों के दिलों का हाल जो है जानना बहुत मुश्किल है. एंड आई मीन इट्स लाइक अ टोटल डेवस्टेशन. डू यू वांट टू ऐड समथिंग?
या मतलब हमारा मतलब सारा फोकस चला गया इस तरफ, और टोटली यानी वाकई आप सही कह रहे हो वली, कि दिल से दुआ निकल रही है कि अनीला अमजद को अल्लाह ताला सब्र भी दे और हिम्मत दे, हौसला दे. उनकी पूरी फैमिली जो पीछे हैं वो तमाम को वो हिम्मत अता करे अल्लाह ताला. और अल्लाह ताला लाइक मैं अब क्या कह सकती हूँ कि मतलब 2 बच्चों का चले जाना मतलब अनबिलीवेबल. इतना बड़ा शौक है कि मेरे ख्याल में पूरे ख़ानदान के लिए अनबेरेबल होगा इस वक्त.
Anila Amjad is saying, protect your children from the bad people. My daughter was innocent. They used her, manipulated her, and drove her to take her own life. My daughter was not like that.
Oh.
Oh my God. Oh my
Such
God.
a big tragedy.
Oh my God.
Our hearts are with you, अनीला अमजद. हम सब आपके लिए दुआ गो भी हैं, और बिल्कुल हमारे दिल जो है ना बहुत सख्त दुखी हो रहे हैं आपके लिए इस ट्रैजिक चीज़ के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा. आई डोंट नो अब हम किस तरह से कैरी ऑन करेंगे अपना टॉपिक, बिकॉज दिस इज़ रियली ट्रैजिक.
And I hope you find justice in the court system, although हम लोग को इतना यकीन नहीं है अपने court system में, मगर this is such a blatant violation of everything. I hope कि even if you want like help, we're here to help you with that as well, and I hope कि there's some justice to your family, because losing one child and losing 2 child from the same person is like so devastating. इंशाल्लाह अल्लाह आपको जो है सब्र कोई तौफीक भी अता करेगा, और इंशाल्लाह जो है ये जो बंदा है जिसने किया है ये पूरी ज़िंदगी जो है जेल की सलाखों के पीछे काटेगा. एंड वी आर सो सॉरी फॉर यू अनीला अमजद एंड फॉर योर स्टोरी. सो लेट्स go back to our topic, and let me show you another video of what's been happening in the United States of America. And split screen, yeah, and audio.
$60 fucking dollars, and the month before that $340. So I was like, fuck this, I'm tired of DT Energy getting a fucking rager, okay, every time we use electricity. So I decided I was going to go on the website to see like when the peak hours are. The peak hours where they charge you more for like using electricity is between 3 and 7. 3 and 7. That is fucking predatory. Okay, that is when everybody is getting off of school and getting out of work and doing their chores and dinner and giving baths. Like that, right? Am I wrong about that? Like that's fucked up. Okay, first of all. Second of all, I decided, okay, you know what? We're not going to do anything between 3 and 7 but make dinner. Like I told don't even flush the toilet. It was $350.
So as you can see, this is another girl who is like really pissed off at her financial situation. And I mean, there's a lot of videos all around the internet going on which are showing these American people who can't like really afford basic necessities. They can't afford good education for their children, and they can't like really do their everyday lives. And it's even worse for Europe when you say, because the living standards of Europeans might be a little better because some of the countries are welfare states, but the governments are like really broke. How can you like give like billions of dollars to the welfare of your country when you don't have any money yourself? So Europe is going to have even a bigger problem because the population decline that is happening. There's less children who have to afford, there's less children and more people who are elderly. So all of the money that is going to be spent on the elderly people, who's going to pay for that? That money has to come from the taxes that are collected by from the young people who are doing their 9 to 5 jobs, who are in the ages between 25 to like 55, and they have less of these people and more of the older people. And same thing, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is the next financial bubble which is going to burst, and it's like 60 times bigger than the 2008 financial crisis. And it's like a $5.9 trillion financial bubble that is.
Add something.
You have,
Yeah.
okay. What do you want to add?
Yeah, I wanted to just put out this thought that you were just mentioning that this woman said that the US has bailed out Argentina with so many billions of dollars, and you know that the US has also given billions of dollars to Ukraine for their war with Russia, and then the US is also giving so many weapons, billions of dollars of aid and weapon to Israel for its war, and then they're also spending billions of dollars to upgrade their weapons because China is having such an upgrade in their military. So just to balance that off, they are also spending a lot, billions and billions on upgrading their own militaries, and then they are spending billions and billions on high-end technology like the AI and these other things, this social media things, the Facebook, YouTube, all these things are also their assets because through these social media platforms they control the psychology and this the thing of the whole global community. So when they are doing all those big high-end things, they are actually taking away from the like needed healthcare and the needed food supply that their people need. And that's not only happening in the US or Canada, it's also happening in UK. You were just saying that some of these countries are welfare states. UK is also a welfare state, but I have heard that they are giving, for simple medical treatments, they are giving 6 months later dates because they cannot afford to like do all that. So this thing, when the global elite, the global ruling class, they are playing their big games and they are working on new wars and military equipments, billions of dollars worth, then you not only bring inequality in all your societies, but you make for a very, very unjust global environment, which is totally biased, totally unjust, and humanity has to suffer so much because all these elite, politician class and the elite business class, these people have to like earn so much that the whole humanity has to suffer. And what happened with Anila Amjad, I wanted to connect that. The injustice, if you have it on the global level, then there is going to be all that injustice in your national level and your local level also, because things trickle down like that.
And Eli Amjad is also saying you should all raise your voices. Laws should be made so that no one can destroy another family's home or trample a mother's wishes. Please, everyone, speak up for this. There's no justice here.
That's true. That's really true that justice is, a rare commodity in today's times. You can go to, a lawyer, go to the system, but you will find that there are so many impediments, things like that are coming in the way of justice, and you will find a disappointment in your justice system. Very sorry to say all that.
Yes, and we're sorry for your loss as well, Anila Amjad. I would like to hear all your story. Maybe we'll give you a call. Maybe we'll try to contact you, and we'll do next video or the next live stream for your son and for your daughter, and we'll tell their story, the real story. And we also हम सारे अपील करते हैं कि आपके बच्चों को जस्टिस मिले, क्योंकि बहुत जो है डेवस्टेटिंग हरकत है, और छोटा मोटा हमें कोई नुकसान हो जाए तो हमें हफ्ता हफ्ता महीना महीना उस डिप्रेशन से बाहर नहीं निकलते थे. तो आपकी पूरी ज़िंदगी है, जो आपके बच्चे हैं वो तो आपकी पूरी ज़िंदगी है. तो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट यू आर गोइंग थ्रू, एंड मे बी एनी वेज वी कैन हेल्प यू. आई एम श्योर कि हम लोग जो आपकी हेल्प करने की कोशिश करेंगे. अगर आप खुद आना चाहें और अपनी स्टोरी बताना चाहें तो दैट इज़ इवन गुड, बट at least we'll hear your story and then we'll deliver your story in front of the camera. So it might be that there's someone listening, and we might, I know we can't like really help, and we can't go to the police and get this person arrested, but as much as we can do, we'll try and help you. And
we should like dedicate today's program to Anila Amjad, and for the justice that she and her family and her children deserve. We should dedicate this program, even if we're talking about the global financial crisis that is coming, and it is really, I mean, that is also a big tragedy, how humanity is going to cope with this already when we are suffering with hunger and disease, and so many countries, so many societies in the world who don't have like food to eat, they don't have any medication. Even if you look into Gaza, there is no food there, there is no medical help, there's no treatments over there, and people are dying there every day. So we connect, I think this sorrow, these tragedies connect us with each other, and we feel more genuinely for our brothers and sisters in all over humanity, not just in the Muslim communities, even others who are suffering. And you will tell us that how this financial, instruments and these overspending, and this is all affecting humanity. I mean, I was reading that article in which, the top 5% or 2% people own something like 50 to 80% of all the wealth of the world, and the lowest 50% of humanity is like living on only 2 or 3% of the global wealth. So this is why basically the system is unsustainable, and this is why if you're doing so much, greed behind this global financial system, there is so much greed, there is so much जिसको कहते हैं ना हद से ज़्यादा लालच और हद से ज़्यादा सेल्फिशनेस जो है, उसकी वजह से ये सस्टेनेबिलिटी, इतने इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स बनाए गए दौलत को इकट्ठे करने के लिए कैपिटलिस्ट जो मॉडल के तहत, कि वो इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स आज बिल्कुल उस नहज पे है कि ब्रेक डाउन का लेवल आ गया. आई थिंक यू शुड एक्सप्लेन मोर कि ये फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस जिसकी आप बात कर रहे हो, इसकी रियल रीजंस क्या हैं, कि क्या किए हैं लोगों ने जो ये ब्रेक डाउन होने वाला है.
I mean, it's not just the top 10%. It's not the top 1% who have like 90% of the world's wealth. It's even less than that. It's like 20 families or 15 families, and all the world's wealth is concentrated in their hands. And the greatest Ponzi scheme was the creation of Federal Reserve Bank back in 1913. And the Federal Reserve Bank is like a private entity. And although it's like a hybrid private public entity, but it has like it has destroyed the whole of the world, because the Federal Reserve Bank can print any amount of money, and they they can print money out of thin air. And they have been doing so since 1970s, since the Bretton Woods agreements. And back when in 1913, the world didn't know that the Federal Reserve Bank would be such a big devastation to the whole world. Although the Federal Reserve Bank was created to manipulate all the Americans, but then America, after the Second World War, became the most powerful nation. All of the manufacturing and all of the industry was in America, and America was the top exporter. And there was a golden time in American history when you would have been better being born in the middle class of the American than rather being born in a rich Asian family. Because even if you were a rich Asian family, a boy or a girl, you couldn't like really get the best education. You couldn't like really get the best technology. You couldn't like really prosper the way the middle class Americans would have. But then what happens that as all empires fall, the fall of America starts happening, and they go off the dollar system. They go on these expensive wars, war in Vietnam, war in Iraq, war with Afghanistan, war with all these other countries that they have totally decimated. And these wars cost them trillions and trillions of dollars. And then there's also that Asia is building itself back again, and Asia is getting better. So all of the GDP of the world cannot just be concentrated in America, because all the rest of the world is waking up, and it's been like 70, 80 years since the Second World War. So, I mean, now that Asia is rising up, and the American system is like on the back end. So it's like a totally different game. And the topic of today's live stream, which was there's like this big unknown or known thing that is coming, and that is totally going to destroy the whole financial system of the world, because all the world is based on debt, and all the world is based on this dollar system. So there's this $6 trillion hole that has formed in the American government, and the $6 trillion thing is the school districts. Now, what is the school district? And this is like really recent knowledge, because if you do the math, you can easily say 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. And when you do the math for these school districts, you can easily see the whole house of cards that the American economy is based on. But there's no one who is actually bringing this ahead other than a few guys. And even the great politicians of America turn their faces when they hear about the school districts. So what happened in 2020 or 21? When was the coronavirus?
21.
Yeah, 21 was the coronavirus. So what happens is that the school districts are already in trouble, and all the schools get shut down. and all the budgets that they have to take. Remember that a school district will get budget according to the amount of children they are getting in the school. And the amount of children can really vary on a lot of conditions. So when coronavirus hits, there's no kid who's coming to school. People are self-learning, they're homeschooling their children. Maybe there's some online classes that are going on, but for most part of 2 years, there's nothing happened. And these school districts should have gone bankrupt. Rather than that, they give this expensive loans. Not expensive loans, they give this massive loans, like billions and billions of dollars of loans to these school districts. And these school districts are not liable to tell anyone how they're spending that money, even if they need that money or even if they don't need that money. And they create these bonds, and these bonds are floating around in the market today as well. And they create this fake value. And after the coronavirus ends, we see that children start coming back to their schools, but the number of children in these school districts has drastically declined. And there's another reason as well, because the American population is also declining. So let's say that America had 100 schools like 30 years ago, but they had so many children that were being born and they could afford to keep these 100 schools. Now, there are fewer and fewer children being born every year, and especially in the Western countries, people are in this zone where they just want to date. The women that are there when they're in their 20s and 30s, and when they're beautiful, they just want to go out in the clubs and they want to party, and they're being invited to these expensive hotels and to these expensive dinners and to these expensive yachts, and they don't have such an incentive to just settle down with some person and leave this lavish lifestyle. And by the time they're in their 30s, mid 30s or late 30s, when they really want to settle down, there's no guy who's willing to take a girl who has such a nonsense attitude, and she's been partying all her life, and now she wants to settle down after whatever she's done in her whole life. So there's like this drastic population decline, and of course marriage is also a very big gamble. Most of these marriages that people are doing today, not only just in America, all over the world, the marriages are ending up in a divorce in like in a year or two. So it's like a real devastation about what is going to happen, because some people say that the world is overpopulated, but the reality is that there is a population implosion that is going to happen. Because yes, right now we might have like 8 billion, 9 billion people in the world, but in the coming future, the next 50 years, the population is going to plateau till like 12 billion, and then it's going to start falling, and it's going to start coming back, and it's going to start going towards like 6 billion, 5 billion, 4 billion. And coming back to what we're talking about, the school districts. The school districts have had this falling children that are coming to the school, and they already took such big loans when there was coronavirus, and then they're spending this money. Where are they spending this money? How are they spending this money? No one knows. And how is the value of the properties estimated in the United States of America? When you are located near like a big school, a very prestigious school which has a lot of great alumni, a lot of leaders that have come from that school, or if there's like a big university right besides your house, the value of your property goes up and up. And then there's like these bonds that are floating in the market, which are created by all of these school districts. They're like a lot of school districts in America, and they're responsible for hundreds of schools and universities in every state and county. And all of this, when you get into the details and when you get into the finances of these school districts, they're actually bankrupt. And it's like a very, very elaborately schemed thing. It's like a big Ponzi scheme, actually. And people can actually go into the accounting and they can see that there's like this 6 trillion accounting gap because of these school districts. And upon this 6 trillion accounting gap, there's like more bonds and more things that are floating around in the market. So if suddenly $6 trillion is wiped out because the school districts fall, what is going to happen to the United States economy? It's going to be a financial crisis that the world has never seen before. It's going to be bigger, 60 times bigger than the 2008 financial crisis. And in 2008, remember that people haven't still recovered from the 2008 financial crisis. The people who lost their multiple homes and who lost their generational wealth are still out on the streets. And even it's not just the 2008 financial crisis people, there are more, a lot more people who are on the streets. And there's this fun fact that 50% people who are homeless in America actually have jobs. So how can you say that you have a job and you're still homeless? So
the school districts, because they are so, a big part of the society, they are taking loans from the government, and with all those trillions of dollars that they are issuing bonds to the other people in the society. And now there's going to come a time that those bonds have to be returned, and they will not have the money to do that, something like that.
Those bonds that they have issued are worth $0, and the money that they have received, they've already spent that money. There's a figure like Amazon, something had to do with the school district, and with Amazon they just took like a $20 billion loan, because in America $1 billion is nothing if you know the right people. So where does that $20 billion go? No one knows. There's actually more teachers than the number of students. Let's say that one teacher can teach like 30 or 40 students in a month. So the school districts have hired extra teachers, and this might sound like a good thing, because if the teachers are getting money, the whole economy might get better. There's money being transferred to the people of United States of America, especially the teacher class. But the point is that they don't require so many teachers. They try to fire these teachers, but then they come up and go to the courts, and they have these rallies, and they have this all this thing that is going on with the teacher thing.
And like with so many extra teachers, even the education system, the value of education has declined in all these countries in Europe, and that's the reason why children from our countries, they are getting so many scholarships over there. They just finish their O and A levels or their graduations, and they are immediately called with scholarships to these countries, because their own children are not getting educated. They're just leaving school, dropping out of school and college and universities, and they're not satisfied with their own education standards. So that's a double or three-phase Ponzi scheme going on.
Yeah, because the wealthy people in America are sending their children to private schools. So when there's like the school districts have received like $6 trillion, and still they can't like give the proper education to their children, let alone give the best education. So, and these doctors and these lawyers who are making good money in America, they send their children to private schools. And also the LGBTQ plus ABCD, whatever thing that is going on. So they're also giving bad education to the children, and they're also teaching their children to transition. And if a certain student who's like 11 or 10 years old and he thinks that he's a boy or a girl, he thinks that he's not born in the right gender, so the school administration can start giving this child medication without the consent of their parents.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Like so many decades ago, they started teaching the Darwinian evolution thing in the schools, and preaching to that the children that they are, their ancestors were monkeys. And after so many decades, they don't. There was this feminism thing which destroyed the family, and most of the children are with single parent or broken homes, and now they don't have the gender even. They're confused about their gender, that if I'm a boy, am I really a boy? Or if I'm a girl, am I really a girl? And I don't want to be a girl, or I don't want to be a...
And plus with the school shootings, if you are like spending $6 trillion, so why is there so many school shootings? Every other
that's
month
a
or two,
phenomena,
there's like a different school being children.
So that's what happens when you just take God out of the equation. And then whatever you're left with, even if you've got billions and trillions and you've got the best technology and everything, but if there's no God in your system, then that's the path you're going to go. I mean, what if there is a generation of young people who are not sure even about their gender, how are they going to like govern their country? Or do the government jobs, or do the military, or how will they do that?
How will the LGBT people fight in the army? They're too precious. So the point is, yeah, you're right. How will these people fight is another thing. How will these people govern is a different thing. But people, these big lawyers and these people who are like sound in their finances and who are seeing what is happening, the collapse that is taking this shape in front of their eyes, they're going towards the governors and the mayors of their towns and their cities, and they're saying that you are doing such a big economic gimmick, financial gimmick, and it's like the whole economy, the whole US economy is based on a house of cards. If they admit what's been going on and they say that we've made such a big mistake and we want to repent for our mistakes and we want to make this better, and we'll start firing people from the teachers from the school district, we'll try to close a lot of schools down, we'll try to see how the finances are being managed, and we'll try to reduce the finances that are being spent on these schools. So that could, like, even that might not save the whole system, but that might be like a good thing, because remember that I said that 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Now people are seeing that there is a minus $6 trillion that has actually taken place in the American economy, but no one is writing that as a minus $6 trillion. When they do their whole accounting, they're actually saying that these school districts are the best in the whole wide world. And when they're going towards the politicians and the government who are like good people who have done such good things for their societies. Of course, politicians are not like just elected in a day. They have to prove themselves. These politicians just turn their face around and they don't even want to listen to what's happening in the school districts, which shows you that it's like a really, really humongous problem.
It's like the cockroach thing, no?
Yeah.
Always the cockroach thing.
If there's one cockroach, then there's many that you don't see.
Like the way you're telling, what I understand is that there is $37 trillion of debt that is like in the records, right? But apart from that, there are many other trillions that are not like shown in the public debt.
Yeah,
debt
if
accounts.
there's like 36, $37 trillion of liabilities, then there's like a few trillion dollars of assets that Americans have as well. And in those assets, they're counting the $6 trillion of the school districts because those school districts have given bonds to they're floating bonds in the market, and also because of these school districts, a lot of the real estate that is around these school districts have gained a lot of value. So all of these assets that they're counting on their balance sheet are like not there.
Bubbles.
Yeah, they're already bankrupt. They don't have a sound future, and
then there are more bubbles of like other assets like the AI bubble and other bubbles like the big financial institutions. Their bubbles like maybe the Nasdaq or whatever these things are.
Cynthia was saying that Cynthia is like, I don't know, but she's like this major economist in some bank.
Mm-hmm.
She was saying that there can be like a $35 trillion crash if the market starts going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like AI bubble and there's like a lot of wrongdoings that are going on in America, but the biggest and the clearest thing that we can see is the school districts.
Wow.
Which we just told you today.
I mean, the schools have been acting just on the image of the American government, I think. The way they have this, they print money out of thin air, then they distribute bonds and take money from everybody, giving them these paper contracts called bonds. The same exact thing the school districts have done, but with their own people, with Americans.
Yeah.
So bubble out after bubble,
Yeah.
when all these are going to be pricked. So what is going to be the ripple effect on the global economy of this thing?
Well, China is trying to make their own currency, yuan, be like the medium of exchange, and they're building gold vaults all over the world, starting from Hong Kong, then Saudi Arabia, and then maybe Brazil. And
But the dollar, although we are all talking about the dollar every day that it's going to crash or it's not going to be the global reserve currency, but still every country has dollar reserves. Every big institution, every big businessman, they have dollar reserves. So when I was asking about the ripple effect, I mean, one day, one fine morning, if the dollar loses its global reserve status, then what's going to happen to the dollars in everybody's bank? Pakistan also has.
For the first time in 30 years, central banks all over the world have more gold reserves than dollars. And that's just a figure that came out. We just uploaded a short yesterday explaining the same thing. And gold was 22% of like the whole central bank's value back in the 70s. And gold might have like a long way to go. It might go from just 6% bank reserves in central bank to 20%, and that's like a huge number. And it's really important to talk about sound money. What is sound money? Because remember that there have been big empires before the American Empire. What happened with the Roman Empire? What happened with the Khilafat that was there? What happened with every empire? So when the Roman Empire was falling, the medium of currency was their gold coins and their silver coins. So they started scraping off the gold from the coins, and the coins started to get smaller and smaller. By the end of the empire, they had like this really slim coins. And that is how every society ends, and that is inflation. And when we're talking about sound money, we have to know that all your dollars have a counterparty risk. All dollar is an IOU. When the notes were introduced to the world, they were introduced because gold was hard to carry around, and gold could not be broken to any any small pieces and then traded, and it was like a real hassle. So the banks took people's gold and they gave them a paper note which was an IOU that says that the bank owes a certain amount of gold to anyone who is holding that paper. And by the 1970s, the Americans said that your dollars are not exchangeable for your gold. And what happened to Zimbabwe? What happened to all these three third world countries when they had a run on the bank? You also know about this great German Empire and this evil guy Hitler and Weimar Republic. And when they started to lose confidence in their money, first their money, their $1,000, their $100 note was worth like $100 or something. So first they lost like 50% buying power for their whatever the Weimar mark might be, or the Zimbabwe dollar like lost 50% of its value. But then as like 6 months or a year went past, they like lost like 1,000%, 2,000%. So people now are going with this pile of cash, like it's a pile that they have to carry on like a something cart, and what are they taking this cash for? To buy a piece of bread. And right now in 2025, people just throw away billions of dollars of Zimbabwe dollars on the streets, and no one is even willing to pick those billions of dollars
because that's worthless paper now.
So
what happens if the US dollar becomes so worthless that people just throw it on the
yeah, it's already lost 99% of its value. And when the next
99%,
yes, from $25 an ounce to $4,000 an ounce is like more than 99.67% of its value. And now it's going to go on a parabolic phase where it's going to lose so much of its value so fast that your dollars are worth nothing.
They did it to themselves. Actually, the whole world was happy in trading in dollars and keeping it as a global reserve, and the trust on this dollar note was so strong that like the trust was giving it all the value. But when the Ukraine war started, they stole Russia's $3 billion that were parked in US and European banks. And from that thing, it actually, this whole movement was triggered, which already the global south was preparing for, to like make another currency basket, which would be backed by gold, which would be a stable and real money. But that thing that they did with the Russian money triggered this whole movement, and now it's happening so quickly now.
In 2013, actually, China had $1.5 trillion of US treasuries. They were the biggest holder of US Treasuries. And by 2025, in 12 years, they have reduced that number to 800 trillion, and they have been the net sellers
Billion.
of US Treasuries because this illusion of the mighty US empire started falling back in the 9/11 attacks, in the September 9/11 in 2000s, and when the 2008 financial crisis hit, everyone was sure that the American empire is going towards its demise. And now,
And Japan is holding the biggest amount of US Treasury bonds right now. And this gives them, a position that if they decide one day to get rid of all those bonds, that is going to be such a big, shock for the American financial system. I mean, that gives this power to Japan. I mean, if today Japan decides to become an ally of China instead of being an ally of the US, what's going to happen? In one day, I mean, things could really happen. And there's a new PM in Japan. This first female PM has been elected just this week. And she has said some tough words to the US that they're not going to compromise on some things, because all these tariffs are affecting them also, no? So.
And the Japanese are not having any children as well. They have a lot of old people, and
their schools are empty,
Japanification or Japanization, I don't know what's the term.
We met somebody from Singapore. She was saying, that lady was saying that most of the schools have been shut down because there are no children.
So what's the future? That's the future.
A deadly future.
Yeah, because I don't know, because the future might be African, because Africans are the only people who are having children.
No, Asians are also. China and India, we have 1 billion each population.
Yeah, but China had the one-child policy, and
but Indians are really making so many kids, and Pakistanis are making more.
Pakistanis are making more. But there's also South Korea, and there's also Japan, and there's also whatever the countries who are the first world countries, somehow with all the money they're making, they think that careers are more important, and they think that if they have a child, it's going to disrupt their financial status. They want to do something really big with their lives, and they want to be CEOs, and they want to be prosperous. And
the old agricultural societies, in those agricultural way of life, parents needed more children, because children, their sons and their daughters would help them in the farms and all the work, because everything was done by hand. Physical work was there, so the more hands, the more legs they were, the more prosperous the parents used to think they were. They used to be proud of having so many children. But now a child is considered as a liability, not a need. How are they going to afford their schools, their health care, and everything, and their babysitting? So they think that this is such a big liability. Why should they have?
Why should they have this? So yeah,
I think we've had a lot of time.
Yeah, today we've been going on and on and on and on about the financial system, and I mean, what do you want to say to our audience? Do you want to read some comments before we go?
Yes.
And Asma Munir is saying, we are with you, Neela. I can feel your situation. Allah aapko sabr de. Please, Allah pe bharosa rakho. Janta Mir is very sad. And Hassan Haroon is saying, Anila, be strong. We are with you. Fatma Ali says, yes, Anila, the topic you chose is becoming common in almost every household today. People no longer have fear of God. They consider others weak and start acting like gods themselves. That is words of wisdom by Fatma Ali. And Hassan Haroon says, yes, well said, Asma. And Saad Ansari saying, yo, Saad Ansari says, what happened? Fatma Ali says, he betrayed my sister and caused her pain. Now life is giving him back what he did. He wants peace, but he can't find it. And
another tragedy with another person. Fatma is a different person.
nahi, Fatma is saying he betrayed my sister, and her sister is Anila.
No. No.
He betrayed my sister. Who's the sister? Isn't it Anila?
She's talking about someone else.
And Janta Mir is saying, इंसान जुल्म करके भूल जाता है शायद, but Allah नहीं भूलता. Don't be sad, dear friends. Please be strong. That is Saad Ansari. And Amber Mahin is saying, enroll your children in Islamic education and keep them among good people so they learn how wrong deeds are and wouldn't betray others the way he did. That's very important. We should all give Islamic education to our children. And Amanullah is saying, Allah रहम करे, लोगों का गम सुन के इंसान अपने गम भूल जाता है, अल्लाह रहम करे. And Asma saying, आज का टॉपिक इंटरेस्टिंग था वली वंडर्स, बट अनीला की स्टोरी बहुत हर्ट किया. Yes, Anila. But to end, if Anila is listening, we'll try to approach you. And बहुत जो है devastating story थी जो आपने हमें बताई. And
why don't you give your WhatsApp number in the comments, so if somebody wants to tell?
No, we don't
No?
give our WhatsApp number in the comments.
Okay.
But we'll try to send her a message on her Gmail account.
Acha,
Maybe we can find that. I mean, it's like such a big devastation, and how you just told us your story, Anila. All of us are like really devastated and moved, and inshallah we'll try whatever is in our what
At
you
least
can
we
say.
will remember you always and your children in our prayers. We will keep remembering them, and I think that's the best we can do. We are with you. We stand with you.
So with that, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for you guys, and it's such a pleasure. Anila Amjad is saying thank you. And unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's live stream. It's already like 2:30 a.m. and today's topic was an interesting topic, and the Anila Amjad's story was like really like a story that is like sinking our hearts, and we feel for her as well. And thank you for all of our audience for being here, and thank you for listening to us for so long, for like 2 hours almost. And please do remember to like, share, and subscribe as much as possible, because it's like a free way to promote our live streams, and it helps us create more and more amazing content for just you guys. So with that, I'd like to say Allah Hafiz.